Hey guys, Jeff Poole here with Shutter Magazine, and today I'm going to give you 6 tips to turning your evergreen blog content into lead magnets that helps generate new clients for your business. In the article, Lori talked about the importance of having evergreen content on your blog. But what happens when that content gets buried down on page 3 or 4 of your blog months down the road? We need to figure out a way to bring that information and keep it on the forefront of your website so people always have access to it. Because we think that when people visit our blog, they may be searching deeper down, but in all honesty, they're not. They're going to a certain blog post, and they don't tend to really dig down deep on your blog to find that older content. So how do we bring that information back up to the forefront and keep it relevant for all these potential clients that's searching for content? In a day where content's king, having that information readily available on your website means the difference between booking a client and not booking a client. So today I'm going to share with you some of our tips and some of the tools we use in order to be able to keep that information relevant and up on the forefront of your website. Tip number 1, obviously, is the simplest tip, is to link directly to that information. Part of having a lead magnet is asking for someone's email address in exchange for that information. And so people often think, well, if the information's already on my blog, why would people give me an email address to be able to get to it? And that's a great question. And the answer is sometimes that information gets buried down on your blog and it's not always available and right there on the forefront, so people don't know it's there. So we need to be able to create a graphic or some sort of way that we can say, hey, this information exists. Click here to sign up and get this guide or get this information. Once they give you the email address, the simplest way to deliver that to them is by directing them a link right back to that blog. Now, Lori and I haven't really had a lot of success with that because people are always having to go back to your blog. And once they have that link on their phone, they'll go to your blog once or twice. But we wanted to be able to find a way to deliver information to them that is always on their phone. So rather than linking back and taking the easy way out and just directing that link right back to the blog, we decided that it would be easier to create a PDF of the information or a mobile app of the information and deliver that to them, because once they have that, it's downloaded on their phone or their device and they have it right there readily available at all times to be able to access that information. So how do we do that? So in the next several tips, I'm going to share with you ways that we use different tools available to us in order to be able to create those PDFs. So I'm going to transition over to my screen now for tip number 2, which is using a program called Designer. So this is Designer. This is tip 2 for today. And what Designer allows us to do is be able to take the content from our website or a blog post and generate a PDF from it without having to duplicate all that content. Because once you write a blog post and you import all those images and you get it just right, you really don't want to do it all over again just to put it in a PDF. It's just time consuming and it doesn't make sense. What Designer allows us to do is easily bring that content into a PDF by simply importing from a link on our website. And so here's an example of one that Lori and I did for a wedding vendor lead magnet. So this is actually an older blog post. I think it's probably 2 or 3 years old, that is on our blog, on our website. And it basically is a vendor guide for anyone looking to book vendors in the wedding industry around Wilmington, North Carolina. And so as you can see here, this is all the information, the text, the images, the graphics, the headers, everything. It even brought in links from that blog post into this PDF that we can simply download and deliver to our client. Now our clients, or potential clients I should say, has this PDF on their phone or their device easily and readily accessible at all times. Now sometimes these PDFs or these mobile apps that we're going to talk about in a minute will not have all of the information that's contained within your blog post. Sometimes we want it simply to be a teaser, just a little bit of information, and still direct them back to that blog post. Because if we're not using something like a mobile app and we're using a PDF download, we want to be able to direct them back to our website, back to that blog post, so we can pixel them. And we're going to talk about pixeling a little bit later on and in future episodes. But we want to be able to pixel them so we can retarget ads to them. And by delivering them just a PDF via email, we don't really have that ability to Facebook pixel them so we can remarket ads back to them. So let me show you how Designer works. This is the dashboard of Designer, and I'm going to create a PDF lead magnet from one of our blog posts that I posted back in June called 6 Tips for Wedding Day Toasts That Rock. Now when we look at this blog post, it has a combination of text and imagery on it that is designed to give our couples information to pass along to their wedding attendants so that they can really nail those toasts on the wedding day. Now I want to get this information from here over into a PDF without having to do copy and paste and typing and pulling images back in and trying to have to design it by hand, and Designer is perfect for that. So Designer's website is design with 2 R's.io, and it's $25 one-time fee to be able to have an account with them, and it's pretty amazing. It's super simple to use, and I'm going to show you in just a few minutes how we can create a PDF directly from that blog post. So we're going to click create a new project here, and we're going to name it 6 Tips for Wedding Day Toast That Rock. We are going to come down here and over here, and we're going to grab our blog link, jump back over into Designer, and we're going to choose import from URL. Now if you're the type of person that writes up all your information into Word documents and things like that, or maybe a Google Doc before you go live with it on your blog, you can import from a Word document as well. But from most of my experience, when I do things like that, it's just a text, and I still have to figure out how to bring images in and design it, and it doesn't make sense. Importing from the URL will bring in everything from that blog post and create a beautiful PDF lead magnet in just a matter of minutes. So we're going to click import from URL, and we are going to paste our URL in here, and we're going to click next. It's going to take just a moment to bring that information in, and then it's going to ask us for a template. And in this screen, it's given us a lot of different templates to choose from. They have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of templates here. I personally like the 2-column layout, so I'm going to go up to categories here, and I'm going to choose the 2-column option. And now I'm just going to pick this first one here just to show you for an example. And once I click next, it's going to show me a summary of what I'm doing. It's going to show me that my project name is 6 Tips for Wedding Day Toasts That Rock. I'm importing all the content from this blog post URL right here, and I'm using this 2-column template here. Now when I click next, it's going to open it up actually in the Designer. Now the template that has the image in here by default of this sunset, it can be changed. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go over to background, and I'm going to choose image, and I'm going to choose my media manager. And I'm just going to grab this image that I grabbed from my blog post. And it's a low-res image. It's not the highest quality. Of course, you would want to use a high-res image. But for the example that I'm given here, I just grabbed an image from my blog to drop in here. You'll also notice that the text is a little big. I don't really like the text that big, so I can click on the text, and I can change the font size down to something that's a little bit more manageable, that looks good. And I don't really want this text floating in the top of this guide. I really want it to be in sort of a header or a banner. And so I'm going to click on the container here. And once I click the container, I can choose edit. And now I can change the background color of this container. And maybe I want to have it like a darker gray. Okay, choose. And so now I've got this cover designed the way I want it. And as you scroll down at the bottom, you'll see it asks for an ebook author. So I'm going to just type Jeff and Lori Poole, and then Indigo Silver Studio. And again, I don't really like black, so I'm going to change that container color to more of like a medium or a darker gray there. And then down here you see this text is a little big, so I'm just going to change the text size to something that's a little bit more manageable within there, just something that looks good. And now you can see within just a matter of minutes, I've created this really nice PDF that has imagery, it has text, it has everything from my blog post in it, and all I have to do is download this and now deliver this to my client. So that's tip number 2. Use Designer. Super easy to create PDFs from your blog post. Tip number 2, or 3 I should say, check out Canva. Canva.com is a really easy way to design just about anything. I've actually got to where I design more of my marketing pieces in here than I do in Photoshop. When you come into Designer, this is a free software, by the way. You can design anything from multi-page PDFs to infographics to blog posts to social media ads. Pretty much anything that you need to design, you can design right within Canva, and it makes it very simple. A few things that Lori and I have designed in here. This are Facebook covers that we've designed for a new wedding association that we're starting here in the Wilmington area. We have social media graphics. This is a Instagram graphic. We have announcements that an article has been posted on the blog. So this one is announcing the ultimate boudoir gift idea now on the blog. Lori's created infographics to be able to announce information about what's included in her Day of Luxury boudoir session. She's also created infographics that she posts up in her group to kind of gather engagement in her group. So this is a little funny when she made called The Broke Girl's Guide to Self-Care. And so she was able to pick this template out of there and just edit the information that's in it to be hers. And so there's tons of templates in here depending on what it is that you want to do. So the first thing that we do is create a design, and what I'm going to do today is I'm going to create a graphic that we can use on our website or Facebook or Instagram to be able to promote that lead magnet that we just created using Designer. And so let's say, for example, I want to create a Facebook post to say, hey guys, we have this awesome piece of content on our blog, go check it out. I'm going to choose Facebook post, and it's going to give me a blank graphic here that's designed for the size of a Facebook post. As I scroll down, you can see there are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of templates in here. I'm going to choose one that is very clean with not a lot of text on it, because Facebook doesn't like things that have a ton of text on it. I think if you're using something for a Facebook ad, they want less than 20% text on there. So that's kind of the rule I go by with just about anything. That way I don't get used to doing something that's really busy like this and then accidentally do it when I decide that I want to post an ad up. So I'm just looking for something that doesn't have a lot of text on it, that's very clean, and I really like this look here. So I'm going to click here, and it's going to load this template for me. The next thing I want to do is switch out the imagery. So over here on uploads, I've already uploaded the image that we used for the cover of our PDF. So I'm going to take this image and I'm going to drag it in, and it's going to pop it into the background. Now, you can't really see the image in the background, so I'm going to change the opacity just a little bit to be able to bring that a little bit more up. And then I'm going to tweak the text just a little bit in here. So for Travel 2020, I'm going to change it to Get the Guide, because we want people to know that this is a call to action. We want you to get this guide. And now I'm going to change this text here to what it is that they're getting. 6 tips for wedding day toast that rock. Okay, so now I'm going to double click this, and I'm going to change the font size here. I'm going to change the text, the actual font, because I want something that matches my brand a little bit. I'm going to center it here, and I'm going to change the color of it to white so it can show up. All right, and then down here, I'll just take that completely out because I kind of like that. And now we can actually resize this entire thing if we want it to be smaller. And I'm going to move it down into the bottom corner to where it's out of the way and people can actually see the graphic itself. So I'm going to just move this down here. And let's change the opacity of this just a little bit more. I like it a little bit higher up there. So now we can take this graphic and download it and use it on our blog. We can use it, in maybe another blog post. That's a lead magnet. We can, down at the very bottom, we can say, looking for tips to rock your wedding day toast, click here. And we can direct them from one blog post or one lead magnet to another, because we want to keep them in our ecosystem. We want to keep them revolving around within our website and constantly finding new information to educate them. Because the more we can educate a client, the more likely they are to book with us. So this is just one way you can use Canva to create a graphic that you can easily put on your website or Facebook or any social media to be able to bounce them right back to your lead magnet and where you ask for an email address. So that's tip number 3. Tip number 4 that I want to go over today is using sticky folios to create a mobile app that people can download onto their phone. This is the most effective way that Lori and I have found that we can actually convert potential clients into booked clients, is to take our lead magnets and put them into a sticky folio. If you're not familiar with sticky folios or sticky marketing tools, check them out at stickymarketingtools.com. They have a wealth of resources available for you to be able to market to your clients. And what I'm about to show you are a couple of their folios, or actually it's one folio template called the lead magnet template, but they also have a ton of different templates and information in there, and they have the ability to do your automated email sequence that I'm going to talk about in just a minute. They have that ability to do that as well. But for Lori and I, when we're creating our lead magnets, we want them to be something that's on their phone or their mobile device and that they can access at any time, and more importantly, that they can share with other friends. So 7 things you need to know before booking your boudoir photographer is a lead magnet that Lori put together. And as you see, this is our website version of it that you see here. When you're scrolling down, you have all the information that a client would need to contact you right here on the website, as well as our email, a way to call us, links to our website, and all of our social media. But when you scroll further down, we have all the tips that were part of this blog post. Now, these are just abbreviated tips because we still want to point them back to that blog post to drive traffic to our website for SEO purposes. But you could put all of your tips in one of these and it would work just as well. So as you scroll down, you see all these tips that Lori has created for educating people on what to look for before booking a boudoir photographer. Down here at the very bottom, there is a call to action, and we give a discount because we want people to share this mobile app with friends. And this thing has gone viral within a lot of our clients because someone will download it and they will call and end up booking us. And when people ask them about who did their boudoir photography, they will share this app with them because it has a call to action down here. It has save $100 on custom boudoir sessions if booked in the next 2 weeks. And so people begin sharing this mobile app by the share icon down here. They will just share it out by email, Facebook, or text right over to other friends that they think may want boudoir photography, and it works amazing. So I created one as well talking about 8 tips for stress-free wedding planning. It's the exact same template that we use for Lori's, except in this one, I chose a lot of information here that is related to weddings. And as you can tell, there's still this contact section about us, linking to all of our social media, website, and email. But when you come down, all the tips, all the call to actions, and everything is still here because it's the same sticky marketing template that we used. Down at the very bottom, there's a call to action, just like there was in the boudoir. And again, the best part about these sticky folio mobile apps is that we can import our Facebook pixel into them. So whenever someone opens this, we can now say, anyone who's opened this 8 tips planning for a stress-free wedding guide, show them this ad on Facebook, and we can retarget ads back to them just because they've downloaded and opened this guide. So having the ability to market to someone because they've downloaded a guide or visited a blog post on your website is hugely important. And so I highly recommend, if you're not familiar with building lead magnets, is check out Sticky. They have a lot of great resources over there for people who are just getting started in this entire process. So tip number 5 is share your lead magnet everywhere. Put it everywhere. Put it on your website. Put it on the signature of all your emails. Blast it on social media. You're going to want to use it on Facebook ads. You're going to want to put this lead magnet out everywhere. And so here are a couple of examples of where we have lead magnets on our website. So when you land on our weddings website, as you scroll down, obviously there's all the information that someone would want to know before booking with us. But when you get down here at the bottom, you'll notice we have this 8 simple tips to planning a stress-free wedding. Because someone might come to our website just searching around and not really see this lead magnet anywhere else out on social media, or they may have missed a blog post. But when they get to our weddings website, they can click here and get this guide. But guess what? They have to give us their email address first. And rather than putting in their email address and contacting down here, this is a commitment. When people contact you down here, it's almost like they're jumping in with both feet, and they're committing to actually contacting you. However, when they click here to get the guide, and the only thing we ask them for is an email address that we can send them to the guide to, they're not contacting us. They're giving us a way to contact them. It's called permission marketing. When they opt into your mailing list by giving us an email address in exchange for a guide, they are giving us permission to market to them, and it works amazing. And so put this lead magnet anywhere and everywhere you can to get someone's email address. And again, you may not have sticky, you may not have created a PDF that someone can download. Your lead magnet may just be delivered by email with a link pointing back to the blog, and that's totally okay. But consider using a PDF or a sticky folio to deliver it, because you have a lot more options to be able to market back to them. So this is one way that we did it with weddings. As you go over, here's Lori's boudoir website, and as you scroll down, it's the same thing. It's all the information about working with us. And when you get down to the bottom here, and our website's slow right now because I'm streaming another webinar on the other computer, so the lazy load isn't loading in our graphics. I apologize about that. But you'll see the same thing on her boudoir website. It's get the guide right here. We're not asking them to contact us and make a commitment right off the bat. We're just saying, just get the guide. Give us your email, we'll give you the guide, and then we can then market to them through a drip series campaign that Lori's going to talk about later, through email. And we can help nurture them and help them learn to like, know, and trust us. And we can talk about the benefits of working with this, and we can do things like challenge and convert them. And Lori's going to talk all about that in upcoming issues. But I wanted to show you how we link these into our website. And then here is our headshots. It's the same thing. All of our sites are laid out almost identical. Guess what? Here is the Get the Guide, 7 tips for getting the best headshot you've ever had. And so these tips are linked in our emails. They're linked in our websites. They're on social media. We have Facebook ads out with these. The goal is to get that email address. And so once you get that email address, it makes marketing to them so much easier. All right. So the final tip that I have is actually part of 5 post everywhere is use landing pages. So once you post up, all of these little links on our websites actually post over to a landing page. And so with a landing page, if you guys are part of Level Up with Sal, he's talked immensely about landing pages. So I'm not going to talk too much about these, but I highly recommend, if you're not a member of Level Up with Sal, check it out, because there's some amazing information in there, and he goes in depth with landing pages. But I'm just going to give you a brief overview of how we use landing pages in our business and how they're working for us. So this is an example of how we promote our lead magnets at wedding shows. When you go to a wedding show, and Lori, I think the next issue is how we use these in wedding shows. When we go to a wedding show, we stand out from other photographers because if you're a photographer there and you have a fishbowl, you're asking people to drop a name on a piece of paper in there with an email address, you're already 2 steps behind, because by the time you break down your booth and get home and get into your studio the next day and try to figure out the hieroglyphics that people are writing their email addresses in and trying to figure out their handwriting, and you finally get around to getting everyone typed in and emailed out that first email, those potential couples at that wedding show have already had 2 emails from me. So how this works is we tell them the day of the show, hey guys, if you'd like more information about our pricing and a free e-guide of 8 tips for planning a stress-free wedding, put in your email address here and I'll just email all that information over to you. This works the exact same way as landing pages for just giving out your information. Basically what's happening on the back end is they're entering their email address in here, they're choosing photography, and their name is getting ported over to a list within MailChimp that I'm going to show you in a moment. and it's automatically firing out an email sequence to them. The first one is going to deliver the pricing and the tips for planning a stress-free wedding, but then it's subsequently going to send them additional emails over the coming days. And I think we have like 15 emails in our drip series that go out every other day, educating them, like, know, trust, challenge and convert, benefit of the benefit. All the things that we need to have in that drip campaign are going out to help earn trust. So by the time all the other photographers are getting back from that wedding show and putting in their email addresses and emailing out one email or maybe two, ours is all automated. We walk away from the show knowing that our system is running and we don't have to worry about it. Now, that's a way to do it at wedding shows, and Lori's going to talk really in depth about this in upcoming articles, but landing pages don't have to be just strictly for wedding shows. We can take a landing page and we can put a Facebook ad out and divert people back to a landing page in order to be able to get their email address here. So this is one that we use for planning a stress-free wedding. This is one we use for finding the perfect boudoir photographer, okay? And if you don't have the ability or time to create your own landing page on your website, these days, most all websites will offer the ability to create a landing page, but I know that some template-based websites don't have that ability. Or if you're not familiar with how to do it, again, going back to Sticky Folios, this is one of their templates that they have here, and this is just one of their templates. I just opened it up on the back end to show you guys. You can actually create a landing page right within Sticky. You can create images here to upload. You can change all of your text here for your lead magnet, and when they click Get the Guide, a little pop-up jumps up for them to be able to enter an email address in, and Sticky even has the ability through Sticky Email to deliver that guide for you if you don't have a MailChimp account or you're not familiar with MailChimp. Now, Lori and I have been using MailChimp and things like that for years, and so we already had MailChimp built out, so we don't actually use the email portion of Sticky. But several clients that we've mentored, we've pointed them in the direction of Sticky because it is so easy, and they're having great results with it. So if you're not familiar with MailChimp and you don't want to have a huge learning curve in how to create campaigns and lists and emails and drips and things like that, I highly recommend looking into Sticky for that as well. So all the things that I'm showing you today, with the exception of Designer and Canva, everything can be done in Sticky. So we actually use MailChimp. And so I'm going to jump in really quick, and for tip number 6 is use drip campaigns to nurture your leads after you get that email address. So our final tip for today is, once you get that email address, we want to be able to be not aggressively marketing to them, but we want to be able to be the one that's in their inbox. So think about this from a global standpoint. Someone has either seen a Facebook ad that we have for 7 things you need to know before booking your boudoir photographer, or any other lead magnet they created, or they landed on our website and they saw that lead magnet, or they saw it on the bottom of an email correspondence that we've sent out. Either way, they're going to click and they're going to enter their email address in order to be able to get that boudoir lead magnet. Their email address is going to drop into this group right here, and it's going to automatically trigger out a series of emails. But think about this even more from a more global, even more than just emails. Now they have visited pages on our website. They have downloaded the mobile app. So guess what? That mobile app and those pages on our website have the Facebook pixel in it. So not only are people have the lead magnet that we delivered to them, they're also getting the email drips that are educating them on why they should choose us over a competitor. And they are now seeing our ads come up in Facebook and Instagram as they're scrolling. So we are bombarding them kind of behind the scenes to say, you need to be booking Indigo Silver. You need to be booking them for your boudoir. You need to be booking them for your wedding. Everything is there. The more time a client sees your name or an ad or a product that you're offering, the higher the chance is that they're going to be booking you. And so the goal here, and you can see we have several different lead sources here where we get our leads from, whether they're a direct inquiry through the website, whether they're off of a retargeting ad, whether they're coming in for a boudoir lead magnet, whether they're a boudoir show lead. Then we have our boudoir drip campaign, wedding direct inquiry, wedding lead magnet, wedding show lead, wedding drip campaign 1 and 2, and then we have a VIP group. So all of these different groups are all merging in to educate clients after they give us that email address. So having that email address is so valuable. And if you guys haven't read the book Building a Story Brand with Donald Miller, I highly recommend reading that book. And I'm going to jump back over so you guys can see me, because that's all I needed that for. I highly recommend reading the book Building a Story Brand from Donald Miller, because a lot of times when we're doing advertisements and paid traffic, we think, okay, well, we gathered 10 email addresses from this campaign, or let's say 20 email addresses from this campaign, but we only booked one client. Well, if you spent $200 on that campaign and that one client spends $2,000 or $3,000, first of all, that's a win. But we also have to think of the other 19 email addresses we got. And Donald Miller says that in this day and age, an email address is worth anywhere between $10 and $20, depending on what market you're in, because we have that ability, once we have that email address, to be able to continually market to those people. And a great example of that is my mother-in-law, Lori's mom, and her husband just built a house. And when I was asking them how they chose a builder when they were living in Maryland and they were building a house in South Dakota, I asked them, how did you choose a builder, halfway across the country? Did you guys have to fly back and forth and look at floor plans and look at all this and that? And Mike told me, he said, no, actually, when I was stationed out in that area for the military about 15 years ago, I went to a home expo and I gave my email address to this guy for to get some information about home plans when I was thinking about building out there then. And I ended up getting transferred to Maryland, but I stayed on his email list, and every so often I'd get emails from him. And so when we decided to build our house, he was just the first person that I contacted. And that is perfect, exactly the way this is supposed to happen. Now, did that builder think 15 years ago that someone was going to come in 15 years later, and because they met him at a show, and buy a house or build a house from him? Probably not. We're all hoping that those leads convert a little quicker than that, but you never know. He had an email that he dripped out information and newsletters over 15 years, and Lori's mom and stepdad just purchased a $700,000 house from him. So tell me that having someone's email address isn't important. It's hugely important. So the goal is to get that email address and market to them over time. And this is what future articles are going to go into. Lori's got kind of a roadmap that she's going to be working down about how to build a nurture campaign with email series, and then how to use those for shows and everything else. So we really hope that you found this video helpful, and we hope that you tune in for future videos of how we can take this and move it to the next level and the next level and the next level. So thank you guys for tuning in. We hope to see you soon. And if you have any questions, again, feel free to contact us at any point. We'll answer any questions you have. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye.